the housing stock to be top-notch. We also have a wonderful history in Uppertown that needs to be celebrated. We find in each neighborhood what works for them, and then we make a whole big plan on those 52 neighborhoods, prioritize them, and let the citizens direct where they need government help to make this happen.
Thank you. Reverend Henderson.
I certainly don't get an opportunity to go to as many doors as Sarah goes to, but I don't have to, because I can just sit in my office and I can tell you for sure that the citizens of Paducah don't feel as if they have a voice in what's taking place in city government right now. One of the things that I suggested even in the primary is that if I'm elected, I would try to challenge our fellow commissioners to get out of City Hall, to come out of the City Hall, to partner with businesses, to partner with churches, and to have these kinds of meetings and these kinds of settings so we could explain to the citizens exactly what's going on. In layman's terms, how does this affect you? How will this move you and empower you? We don't feel like we have. Most people don't feel like we have a voice. In terms of this whole race relations piece, this group of people have been meeting at our church for over a year. We come together weekly and we talk about each other's struggles, we talk about each other's challenges, and as a result of that, we have become friends. And if anything is going to change in our community on any level, there's got to be some honest conversation about what's really going on in our city, deal with what we got to deal with, and then come up with a solution.
Thank you. Ms. Holland.
I couldn't mirror and agree enough with the racial unity group. It's some of the most powerful conversations I've ever had in my life was in that group, and I challenge everyone here and everybody watching on Facebook to try and attend. Something that hasn't come up is the diversity in hiring at City Hall. I went to the budget presentation. I was the only candidate there, and every single department chair until recently was a 50-plus white guy. Nothing against white guys. I'm raising 3 of them. But when you have the same kind of person around the table, right, you get the same kind of solution. Right. And so if we don't have representation in City Hall at the department chairs, if we're not looking to increase the diversity among not just one department, but all the departments, and not just at lower levels, but all the levels, then you don't see that representation no matter how many listening groups you do. And that's a big way that the City Commission acts is through hiring. And so I would really like to see more diversity at City Hall itself, since they're the ones making the decisions that affect all these neighborhoods that we're talking about.
Absolutely.
30 seconds. Yeah.
Real quick. A lot of those department heads, it's pretty much the same department heads when I first got elected at City Hall. Now here's the thing. There's not a lot of turnover at that level.
But there's going to be soon.
There's going to be soon, and then we can deal with that, and I fully agree. But, you know, when you talk about that, those guys that are there, they're there. They're going to be retiring soon, which does what? Create an opportunity to do something so that landscape looks a little different. So just want to throw that in there.
Can I have a quick... Oh.
Sure.
Go ahead. You go first.
One of the things I think that's important is that we've got to begin now. There's got to be a plan now to do what we need to do. The orders come from the top down. And so therefore someone at the top has to say, this is what we want the landscape to look like, and hold the people accountable if it doesn't look that way. Because if we don't have a plan, if we don't start now, when there is a turnover, it'll be the exact same thing that we had.
And I do want to add, that is so true. Many of the department chairs are coming up for retirement. And when I talk about the next generation of Paducah and the next generation of leaderships, they deserve representation in those decisions that could affect city for decades. We have department chairs that have been there for decades. And when they retire, we'll be filling them with department chairs that could potentially be there for decades. And the next generation deserves a say in that. And every community in Paducah deserves a say and deserves to be represented there.
Thank you. Mr. Jones.
All right. So we're talking about, what was the question again?
Diversity.
How to deal with the diversity, right?
The question is, Paducah is a diverse community in its racial and socioeconomic makeup. Do you feel everyone's voice is being heard? And if not, what can be done to make the community more inclusive and responsive? Okay,
and that's what I thought the question was. I don't want to talk specific about hiring policies, but I will say this. My father said to me, and I say to my daughter, you don't have to see eye to eye to work shoulder to shoulder. You don't have to see eye to eye to work shoulder to shoulder. How do you embrace the diversification? And frankly, it is important. In fact, I go back to the book that Rebecca Ryan wrote, The Mind of the Millennial, how important it is for, as you're recruiting town, to make sure you're not that old town where you've got to,
Oh, wasn't that work? You were
Right.
trying to say it.
That's
You
what
were
I'm
going to say
saying.
it. It's okay.
To be in charge, you've got to have been there a long time, and it is important that we be inclusive. I think I will give. I attended the service that Brother Henderson and Reverend Nathan Joyce put together, and I thought it was excellent. I attended the evening discussion that Dr. Bernice Belt invited me to. I believe if you combine your intellect, your communication, and kindness, you can embrace your diversification and use it as your strength.
Thank you. We'll now go to closing remarks, and we'll begin with Ms. Harless.
Oh, great. Well, thanks again, everyone, for being here and toughing out 90 minutes. I'm sure that we met the 90-minute mark, that's for sure. I just want to close with this. I am young. That is very true. And I know in this campaign, a lot of people have been concerned that I might not have the level of experience that Gail has in order to lead this city. But I'll tell you what, my education and my executive opportunities that I've had have really helped me get the skill set that's needed to take this city to the next step. The tipping point is real. If you've ever read Malcolm Gladwell's book, it is a real thing, and we are at the tipping point. Everyone today on this panel has pretty much been describing the tipping point. And I want to be the one that takes Paducah over the tipping point so that my kids and Sarah's kids and everyone else's kids in this room want to stay in Paducah or come back to Paducah and make this place the home that they want to invest in. So thank you all again so much for being here tonight, and I look forward and ask for your vote on November 8th.
Thank you. Ms. Kaler.
I guess what I would like to ask everyone in this room tonight and anyone listening to this on the news medias, on Facebook, is to look at my record as a city commissioner and as the mayor for 4 years, and that I have been a very fair person to everyone that I've dealt with, that I have worked really hard to increase racial diversity within our boards that I can appoint people to, because diversity is not just the color of our skin, it's our sexual. We have a very diverse commission. We have 3 females and an African American on our commission. So, diversity is something that we have to work at, and something that I want to continue to do. I do have the experience to lead Paducah forward, and I would ask for your vote November the 8th.
Thank you. Mr. Abraham.
1972, my dad moved us to Paducah. It became my city. In Thomas Jefferson Apartments, I remember looking out the back window and I saw a playground. I'm thinking, wow, I got swing set slides in my backyard. I mean, can't get any better than that, right? Moving forward, I was fortunate enough, so when my dad passed away, a lot of people have stepped up to help my mom and my sister and I. Didn't look like me. Yet they had enough respect for my father to extend that courtesy and that love to us. I've never forgotten that, and I try to govern myself with the remembering that I'm a junior. That means my dad gave me his name. As far as being accessible, I'm living in the same house. I don't know about some of you guys, but I get a lot of knocks on my door wanting to know what's going on downtown. So I'd ask for your vote on November 8th.
Thank you. Mr. Bennett.
Thank you, everybody. This has been absolutely phenomenal. Thanks to everybody on the panel. What everyone just said, especially Brandy, is true, which is that we are at the shift right now where the next 10 years are going to determine the path that we take as a city as different people retire and different people shift, which is definitely coming up. So this election is very important. Keep in mind on these city commission positions, it's a two-year gig. So you definitely need to put people in those seats that have the knowledge and experience to hit the ground running and make a difference. I really need your vote. I look forward to working together with you to help the community grow and prosper. Please take one of my cards. Please go to my Facebook and my website. Anything else you need, give me a call. Other than that, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And I pledge to you that I will try to change the culture of City Hall, to hold city manager and department heads accountable for what actions they take, and to try to develop a can-do, a how can I help you attitude on the part of the city staff, which I think in some cases is lacking. There are others that are wonderful employees, but they need a little Ritz-Carlton course. I think we need to increase our funding for neighborhood revitalization. We've talked about that ad nauseum, and everybody wants it. I'm the only one that's done it. We need to work with the neighborhood residents to start from the ground up, grassroots up, not top down, and listen to those needs, because what's going to work for the West End and what's going to work for Upper Town are not the same thing. Finally, I think it behooves us to be very vigilant in maintaining our infrastructure, whether it's the flood wall, City Hall, or any of the city-owned buildings. Let's get a plan out there and take charge of what our city's all about. Thank you. I would like your vote too.
Thank you, Reverend Henderson.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for allowing us to come tonight and to share with you a part of our vision for the city. I've been in Paducah for 24 years. As I said earlier, I raised my family here, and Paducah is indeed my home. I don't have experience being a commissioner because I've never served in that capacity, but I do have experience in being a community servant, and that's what I do every day when I get up and go down to the Washington Street Church. I prepare to serve the people who may come through that office. I'd appreciate your vote. I humbly ask for your vote on November the 8th. Here's some reasons why. I put an acronym together, ADVIT. I'm aware of the needs of this community. I'm aware firsthand of the needs. I have a vision for all of Paducah. My goal is to work for everybody. I'm an independent thinker. I listen to everybody, but I think on my own, and I'm diligent. And every vote that I will cast as a city commissioner will be for all of Paducah. So I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Holland.
I wish I had an acronym, but I don't. Thank you so much for coming tonight. This has been amazing. I think that I offer something unique. I am a fifth-generation Paducah native. My great-grandparents started Allen Auto Sales and raised me to care deeply about this town. I am the only person up here raising young children of my own in this town. I came back here because I couldn't imagine raising them anywhere else, and not just because of the help babysitter from my grandparents sitting in the back of the room, but I love this town. I am passionate about Paducah, and I am invested in seeing it grow just because I am growing a family here, and I want my children to stay or come back to this town. And there is nobody that loves this town more than me. You can ask everyone I went to law school who rolls their eyes every time you say Paducah. We know it's the greatest town. We should all move to Paducah. Yes. And so I will bring that passion to City Commission, and that is why I'm asking for your vote on November 8th.
Thank you. Mr. Jones.
Well, I want to thank you for the support you gave me in the primary. I think I've had more fun running than anyone else. I don't know. You're doing a lot of walking, but it has been fun, and I compliment all 8 of us, or the 7 of the rest of the mayor candidates. I think it's been a class campaign. I'm a nuts and bolts kind of guy. I write questions for a living, and that's what you can expect out of me if you elect me city commissioner. I'm going to do the diligence. I'm going to study and analyze the problems, and I'm going to ask questions. I think 3 words are important: sheep, cheerleader, and collaboration. It's important that the next city commissioner, whoever wins, is not a sheep. Plural of sheep, by the way, is sheep, and the singular of sheep is a sheep. I looked it up today. It's important that the commission lead and not the city manager. We set the course. We set the culture. It's important that we're not cheerleaders. We're not just saying they're doing a great job. We actually do the questions, do the diligence. And it's important that we can collaborate and work together. I think I fit those skills. I'd like your vote. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Wilson.
Well, thank you all for being here tonight. My guess is all of you live in the city, or else you would not be here. And you have chosen to live in the city. And so I'm going to be a cheerleader because I want to say that when you leave here, I really wish I had a Paducah Proud bumper sticker to put on your cars, because I don't want us to leave here thinking about just the doom and gloom that some of us have heard through the questions that have been used and the answers that have given. We are a great community. You've chosen to live here. Every day I have the opportunity to work with many businesses throughout this community. I attend lots of meetings and hear from the people. We can be better, and we are working on that in different ways, through building up our businesses to help them to be more successful, through building up leadership programs to help our people to have the skills that they need to have, through working with our educational institutions so that we can offer more higher education for our citizens, everything that we can do to build up our community. So I'm committed to this, I'm passionate about it, and I really appreciate your vote on November 8th.
Thank you. And this concludes tonight's Paducah Mayoral and City Commissioner Candidate Forum. Would you all please give the candidates a round of applause? Thank you. Yeah. I'm Matt Markgraf. On behalf of WKMS, I'd like to thank all of the candidates for joining us, my colleague Steve Wilson of the Paducah Sun, everyone in the room here tonight, everyone on Facebook watching, thank you. And I'd also like to thank Murray State University's Paducah Regional Campus for hosting us tonight, and our technical crew, of course. Thank you so much. Have a good night.